Hello and welcome. This is a short session on how to think about new paradigms in marketing. I am C.V. Bhattacharya, the Zoffer Chair in Sustainability and Ethics at the Katz Graduate School of Business, the University of Pittsburgh. And about 20 or 21 years ago, I expanded the field of marketing by introducing this idea of doing well by doing good. Or in other words, that if a firm can create value for the environment and or society in a strategic manner, it can also drive its business value by creating that social and environmental value. So in other words, this space on the upper right-hand quadrant exists, and we call this space people, planet, profit, or the triple bottom line, and also made the case that businesses need to be in this quadrant in order to be sustainable long run, and that being in this quadrant does not sacrifice the profitability or sales or any of the traditional bottom line metrics that the firm pursued. Now, why was this important? This was important because prior to this, we were talking about how firms can increase their business value or their sales, but we were not talking about social and environmental attributes as the drivers of those sales. We were talking about the marketing mix. So bringing in this whole different kind of array of variables to explain whether stakeholders reward a firm, and under what conditions they reward a firm for social and environmental initiatives was very new to the field. Now, where did we come here from? We came here from this upper left-hand quadrant space, which is kind of what I call the tragedy of the commons. And why is this the tragedy of the commons? It's the tragedy of the commons because this is the quadrant where firms historically have taken money, or rather taken resources away from the natural environment and the social environment, haven't paid their workers a whole lot of money, or have not paid for the pollution they've created, all that. And in the process as well have greatly increased their business value, their sales and profitability. Now, as a result of that, what has happened is that we have things like global warming. So tragedy of the commons is the phenomenon when if everybody tries to maximize their private gain, it leads to a collective loss. So this bid for hyper consumption, maximum profitability, maximum shareholder value, all of that stuff leads to this tragedy that we are now facing in various shapes and forms. So firms have no choice but to go over to that right-hand side or off that graph. And this leads to some kind of interesting thoughts in terms of what the future might hold. Just as a case in point, so the first paper that was published on this, by me at least, in this triple bottom line space was in 2001 Journal of Marketing Research with my colleague Shankar Sen. Now, where do we go from here? In these 20 years, obviously, the world has changed a lot. And one of the main things that have come up is this idea of purpose, that if businesses are not purpose-driven, then we cannot make, we cannot be sustainable long run. And as well, in the popular press has pointed out that when firms are purpose-driven, they get a purpose bump. So in other words, employees work harder for that firm, consumers flock to that firm to buy its products. The question is why and under what conditions, does purpose play an amplifying effect on how consumers react to a brand, and does purpose help strengthen the brand relationship, consumer brand relationship, in a different way than, let's say, CSR has done in the past? So that's one. The second thing is that, okay, if a firm is in the lower upper left-hand column, and or on the upper right, can we think of a scenario where in the future the firm will want to migrate to the lower right? So just doing the right thing for the sake of doing the right thing, not doing it for any instrumental return, which is the upper right-hand quadrant. So benefit corporations have been working along those lines now for a while, but can we get many other firms to think of themselves in moral terms and appeal to consumers in a moral way, and take actions just simply because it's the right thing to do, and not for reasons of profitability and so on. And then the last idea is that perhaps one can also think about firms migrating from the upper left to the lower left, which essentially means that you are failing to adapt to the new reality of kind of sustainability and where the world is headed. So this could be a classic case of people, of fossil fuel firms or firms like Exxon, who really have not shifted in any major way their business model. And it would be interesting to see if there's a time horizon by which, if firms don't shift, then ultimately they are going to kind of suffer, and they might even disappear from the portfolio of firms in a given industry. So these are just some of the ideas that of how one can increase this thinking of new paradigms in marketing. And I hope you can have fun playing with these in the days to come. If there are any questions or anybody wants to reach out and engage, please do that. Happy to talk more. Thank you.